I just bought a house and my boyfriend, who already lives with me in my tiny studio, is spiraling into insecurity, negativity, and comparisons instead of celebrating with me. And now I don't know how to break up with him when he has nowhere else to go. When my boyfriend 28 male and I 28 female first got together, I didn't imagine we'd end up here, sharing this cramped little studio, circling each other like two mismatched puzzle pieces that just won't quite fit. We've been together for about 9 or 10 months now, and I want to be clear, this relationship has meant a lot to me. He's the first person I've ever dated who treated me with kindness, respect, and genuine care. He is, in so many ways, my first healthy relationship. And that's part of what makes this so hard to admit. I think it's time to end things. The way we started living together wasn't planned. About 3 months into our relationship, something happened with his living situation, and he couldn't stay where he was anymore. It wasn't what either of us wanted so early, but the alternative was him having nowhere to go. So we decided we'd make it work, at least temporarily, until he could move in with a friend. The problem is, I don't live in a space that's designed for 2 people. I've been in this tiny studio for almost 3 years now, and it works for me. I have my routines, my solitude, my peace. It's perfect for 1, but barely survivable for 2. Sharing it has been suffocating at times. We don't have the luxury of space to cool off after an argument. We can't retreat to separate rooms when we're irritated or overstimulated. Everything is on top of everything, all the time. That has created tension, fights, and stress that neither of us really wanted to face this early in our relationship. For a while, the plan was that his friend would move out with him and they'd share a place. That idea gave me some hope. It felt like this was temporary, that soon we'd both get the breathing room we desperately needed. But recently, his friend told him he didn't want to go through with it after all. That one conversation unraveled months of fragile balance. Suddenly, my boyfriend was back at square one, without the money or rental history to secure a place on his own. It crushed him. And while I tried to be supportive, the truth is it crushed me too. Because the longer this dragged out, the more I realized the problem wasn't just the space. I've been trying to ignore a quiet voice inside me for weeks now, maybe longer. That voice keeps telling me that we're not truly on the same path. We're different in ways that feel bigger than quirks or preferences. Our values don't fully align. Our mindsets and outlooks on life clash in ways that feel like red flags, not just bumps. He's at one stage of life, and I'm in another, and no amount of love or effort can erase that gap. I do love him. I want to make that clear. I care for him deeply, and I'm grateful for every moment we've shared. But sometimes love isn't enough. And the more I try to talk myself out of this realization, the stronger it gets. I can't shake the feeling that ending things now is the kinder choice for both of us, than dragging out a relationship that isn't working just because it's comfortable or because I'm afraid to hurt him. What eats at me most is the timing. He has nowhere else to go. He's vulnerable, and breaking up with him now feels cruel. But I also know what would be worse. Waiting. Pretending everything is fine while secretly knowing I've already checked out. Letting him build his future plans around us, when I know those plans don't exist in my heart anymore. If I wait until he finds a place to live and then end it, he'll always wonder how long I'd been lying to him, how long I'd been faking it. He'll feel betrayed, and I don't want that for him. He deserves honesty. Still, honesty feels brutal here. I keep thinking about what it will look like, how I'll even say the words. I picture him sitting on the edge of our tiny bed, his face crumpling when I tell him it's over, and my chest tightens like I can't breathe. I don't want to be the person who makes him feel unwanted or discarded. He's done nothing wrong. Not really. But I also can't sacrifice my own truth out of guilt or fear. That wouldn't be fair to either of us. Just a couple of days ago, I found out I got approved for my house. It's surreal, honestly. I've been waiting for this for so long. My own space, my own fresh start, something that's mine in every sense of the word. After years of squeezing myself into this tiny studio apartment, the idea of having a house feels like stepping into a new life. And yet, instead of just being excited, I'm already carrying this knot of anxiety in my stomach because I know the moment I move, I'll have to lay down a boundary that might blow everything up with my boyfriend. We've already had the big talk about him not moving into the house with me. That was something I made clear early on. This home is my home. I want it to feel like mine, not like another cramped space we're trying to force ourselves to share. He understood when I told him. Or at least he said he did. Right now, the plan is that I'll try to put him on the lease for the studio. The real estate agency doesn't even know he's been living there, so I'll have to make it seem like he's just moving in now. Then, once I move into my house, he'll stay there in the studio, get a friend to move in with him, and they'll save together until they can rent a place of their own. On paper, it's a good plan. It's practical. It allows me to move forward into my new chapter without leaving him stranded. But there's something else we haven't talked about yet. Something that's been simmering in my mind since the moment I signed the papers for the house. My boyfriend smokes weed. Medicinal, yes. He has a prescription, and he uses it at night to help him sleep. But here's the thing, I hate all drugs. Hate them. Weed has wrecked too much of my life for me to ever be able to look at it as no big deal. My last 2 relationships were destroyed because of weed. My brother's life was ruined because of weed. My mother's life, too. It's not just a casual habit to me. It's a scar I carry. When I first started dating my boyfriend, I almost didn't even give him a chance because I knew he smoked. I asked myself if I was really willing to risk putting myself through that again. He reassured me at the time, told me it was strictly medicinal, only to help him sleep, that it wouldn't be a problem. And for a while, it wasn't. Since he moved in, we've had a couple of arguments about it, sure, but nothing earth-shattering. We were able to talk through it, find some uneasy middle ground. Still, the unease has never really gone away for me. Every time he lights up, I feel that old dread creeping back. The fear of watching someone I love slide into dependency, of watching weed take center stage in my relationship the way it has in so many others. And now, with this house, the line is clear in my head. I don't want weed in my home. At all. I've decided that when I move in, I'll tell him. He can't bring it there. This is non-negotiable for me. My home has to feel safe, clean, and free of the thing that has haunted so much of my past. But I also know what that means. He relies on it to sleep. He's told me as much. He can't get a full night's rest without it. Taking that away from him, or at least asking him to keep it completely separate from me and my home, is bound to cause a fight. And I don't know how big of a fight it's going to be. Part of me wonders if this will be the breaking point. If the arguments we've had about weed up until now were just small tremors leading up to the real earthquake. What if he can't accept this boundary? What if my house becomes the deal breaker, the thing that finally pulls us apart? I hate even thinking about it, but I can't let history repeat itself. I can't willingly open my door, my new beginning, to something that has already stolen so much from me. I keep going back and forth in my head. On one hand, I know it's my right to decide what I will and won't allow in my home. I don't owe anyone an explanation for that. On the other hand, I know how important weed is to him, and I can already picture the look on his face when I tell him. I can't hear the frustration in his voice, the way he'll remind me he can't sleep without it, the way he'll insist that this is different from my past relationships, different from my family's problems. But the truth is, it's not different for me. Not emotionally. Every time I smell it, every time I see it, I'm reminded of broken promises, shattered families, and nights spent crying because the people I loved most chose a high over me. I can't erase that. I can't just flip a switch and be okay with it because he's using it responsibly. Ever since I got my finance approval for the house, my boyfriend has been struggling more than ever. And honestly, I understand why. He looks at me, at what I've achieved, where I'm heading, and instead of feeling happy for me, he compares himself. He earns less than I do, doesn't have a car, has no real savings, and now he sees me stepping into this huge milestone of buying a home while he's still just barely keeping his head above water. I hate that he does this, though. It hurts to see him spiral into self-comparisons when he shouldn't. We had different upbringings, different challenges, different paths that got us here. Neither of us had it easy. His father was abusive, and his mother was an alcoholic. He had to leave home earlier than most kids just to escape that toxic environment. My story isn't the same, but it isn't easier, either. My dad walked out when I was 2, and my mother died when I was 7. My childhood wasn't filled with stability or comfort. It was filled with loss. But somehow, I learned to keep moving forward. I was surrounded by resilient people, the kind who, when bad things happened, would shrug and say, "Life's not fair. Get over it." Harsh, maybe, but it instilled in me this core belief that life is unfair, and the only way through it is to push forward, no matter what. He doesn't see life that way. When things go wrong for him, he crumbles. He doesn't just stumble, he falls apart. And instead of taking responsibility or finding a way through, he looks outward for someone to blame. He fixates on how life is too hard, how nothing ever works out, how it's not fair. That mindset exhausts me. It's like he's living in a loop of failure and self-pity, and I can't keep pulling him out of it when he refuses to climb. And this is where I'm struggling. I do love him deeply. He is the first healthy relationship I've ever had, and for a long time, I've been grateful for what we've shared. But more and more, I feel this disconnect between us, not just in our circumstances, but in our mindsets. I can handle struggle because I believe in pushing through it. He sees struggle and collapses under it. And I can't tell if this difference is something we can bridge, or if it's the thing that will eventually tear us apart. It's already affecting me in ways I don't think he realizes. I find myself anxious to tell him good news about my life. When I got the call about the house, my heart was racing, not just from excitement, but from fear. I knew that instead of celebrating with me, instead of being happy for me, he would immediately turn inward. He would see it as another reminder of everything he hasn't achieved. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. He wasn't angry, not outright, but he was quiet, distant, almost sulking, like my success was somehow his failure. Do you know how painful it is to love someone, but to feel like you can't share your victories with them? I don't want to dim my light, to hide my wins, just to protect him from his own insecurities. But that's exactly what I've started doing. I've stopped talking about the good things in my life because I know they won't be received with joy, only with comparison and self-loathing. And I hate it. I hate that I'm shrinking myself down in my own relationship. This is what's making me think, more and more, that it might be time to end things. Not because I don't love him. I do, but because love doesn't erase incompatibility. Love doesn't fix fundamentally different worldviews. Love doesn't make it easier to carry someone else's negativity on your shoulders when you're already trying to build your own future. But then there's the practical problem. He has nowhere else to go. He doesn't have the savings, the rental history, or even the mindset right now to stand on his own 2 feet. If I tell him it's over, where does he go? Does he end up on a friend's couch? Back in an environment that's toxic and unsafe? Does he spiral into something worse, knowing he doesn't have me to fall back on? The thought of him ending up homeless terrifies me. I care about him too much to just throw him out and wash my hands of it. At the same time, though, I know staying in a relationship out of guilt, pity, or fear of what will happen to him is unfair. To both of us. If I hold off on ending things just to protect him, I'll be the one drowning. I'll be carrying resentment every day, knowing that I'm sacrificing my own peace to shield him from consequences that aren't even mine to carry. And what kind of relationship would that be? He would sense it eventually, that I was only there because I felt obligated, not because I wanted to be. It's a catch, 22. If I stay, I hurt myself. If I leave, I risk hurting him in ways I don't know if he can recover from. And yet, deep down, I know the truth. It's already over. The moment I realized I was afraid to share my joy with him, the moment I felt that weight of his insecurity press down on me, something shifted. I can't ignore it anymore. I don't know how to do it, how to break up with someone who has nowhere else to go. I don't know how to look at the person I love and say, I can't do this anymore, knowing full well it might push him into crisis. But I also know that waiting won't make it easier. If anything, the longer I stay, the worse it will be for both of us. I keep circling back to the same thought. Maybe the kindest thing I can do is also the hardest. To end it now, honestly, before resentment builds, before I start hating him for dragging me down, before he starts hating me for being the person he measures all his failures against. It will hurt. It will be messy. But maybe, just maybe, it's the only way either of us can actually move forward. I love him, but I can't carry him. And I can't keep dimming myself to protect him from his own shadows. What should I do? What should be the best thing to do in this kind of situation? He needs to become responsible. I am not even sure if he's trying or not, and I need to move forward in my life. I can't be in this situation forever. Maybe this can make him a better person, and he can stand on his feet and look at world.